Okay guys, Dr. Amy back, and I'm here to give an instructor perspective on how to potentially teach this infection control and the infection control cycle. I certainly do have that video that I had posted earlier, so if you want to show that to your class or give it to them as an assignment, you can certainly do so. However, I will be posting this available set of notes for your students, and I'll tell you how I sort of go about this and why I think that's a good idea. So I do have all of the major terms, okay, showing up here in the infection cycle, and you can see there's quite a number of blanks on each of these pages. And I'm going to show you where to get the answers, where your students are going to get the answers from. So the first thing you should do as an instructor is really just print, okay, a copy of this packet. I have left the last page blank, so if you want to add anything to it, you certainly can. So if you like to add your own questions, add some extra content, right, I left some pages with the proper header on the end page there for you. All right, I am going to now show you, okay, the stations that I set up. So to start infection control, I actually do no lecture on this initially. What I do is I have several what I'll call stations, and I'll show you what I put at each of them in a moment. And I have them spread out amongst the room, and I let them work in small groups. And this, of course, depends on the size of the group that you are working with. I give them a packet of those notes, and they all sort of match up. So, for example, on station 1, let me extend this here for you. I have several of the definitions here that will allow the students to fill in the corresponding page, okay, in their notes packet. Okay. I have also included at station 1 3 links, and what I physically do is I go to these links. They're really about 2 pages apiece from the CDC on infection control, and I print copies of those papers and I tape them down to the desk, okay, at that particular station. But between the definitions I give them and the information I print from the CDC, they really should be able to figure out that definitions page 1. All right, station 2, okay, is from our textbook. You can certainly use any source you're looking for. However, it gives you a number of different classifications of microorganisms, and on it it says station 2, it's the infectious agents page, and if you go back you will see that it is labeled as such. So you can clearly see here back at the information packet where they're to record everything, I have at the top it says infectious agent, so that we know that that series of that station matches to this particular page. And as we go down, right, they will give 5 examples, okay, of different types of infectious agents. Okay, at our next station, I have a picture, and of course this one here on the station page is really small, but in the packet I have it on a single page that they're carrying around with them, and it gives all the information about different potential sources, okay, that are reservoirs. For station 4, again, I have given a couple of definitions here, and I've given a reference to where I got those particular definitions. All right, in addition, I have an OSHA page on bloodborne pathogens, so what is considered a bloodborne pathogen? My personal preference is really to go to this site, print this out, tape this down at the station, because you cannot always expect that the students will have their phones or the ability to directly link to this site. So I physically go in, just make a printout. Again, it's about 2 or 3 pages. Okay, place it at station 4. For station 5, again, I've got a CDC right transmission precautions. So where we talk about contact, droplet, airborne. Okay, these are the links. Again, I print these out. I've given a couple of additional, okay, bits of information in here that were not included in this particular site. Okay, for station 6, I specifically say to refer to that chain of infection picture, and I print out, right, this link, so this discussion on PPE for my students so that they can have a nice discussion. I've also placed another picture, but again, I think the one in the table, you know, at the table, that larger view, and in their packet is much, much better. All right, for number 7, I have included what a susceptible host looks like, right? I put all these things on here, what makes them more susceptible, which will make them less susceptible. They'll have to answer a couple of questions, okay, regarding this at station 7. And then last but not least, I do have what is the difference between medical and surgical asepsis. This is not for everybody who wants to do this activity. I did find this through Pinterest, so I am going to give them some credit here for this. This is not my picture here. Okay, the cycle of infection was adapted, okay, from a public picture, and I've made some changes to it, certainly, but this one is not mine at all. However, I find it to be a fantastic picture, so I just reference it and I have them fill it out. All right, so the first step in this activity is really to have the students go through and see how much of the questions they can answer on their own. Using group work, they are allowed to use phones, certainly, if they have them, and good internet access on their phones in class, and okay, all of that stuff. So I certainly let them try to go through it. When they are done, okay, I make sure that we go through each page, okay, of that activity packet, that they've got the proper definitions, that they truly understood those 6 steps, okay, of infection control. And in addition to just understanding those 6 steps, that they really understand how they sort of work together and what sort of things, sort of stop them in their tracks. And then because we do surgical asepsis right after our medical asepsis and our cycle of infection lectures, we're headed right into surgery techniques in our classroom. I certainly sort of transition with this station 8. And so you may or may not care to do that. All right, hope you enjoyed this activity. It does take about an hour to about an hour and 15 minutes. Of course, that would depend on the speed of your students. The number of students certainly would make it just a little bit longer. I will post a free link to the slide presentation so that you have a link to all of the resources. It is also free to get the packet for your students that I have created. Just go to my Teachers Pay Teachers account. I do have other assignments available over there for you. Okay, hope you have a great day, and let me know what else you guys would like to learn about when it comes to active teaching.